All right, so I wrote this story, A Gang of Daggers, and how much of it do you know? Probably nothing.
I can't remember.
I
told you before.
The story of A Gang of Daggers is high school students, freshman year. They're like the nerds. They get picked on by everybody. They find a magic portal to another world. They go to this other world. They're like, wow, we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want. So they decide we're going to sell our services on this other world as mercenaries. We'll walk around with weapons and like we'll just guard people, do whatever they want for money, and because it's like medieval times on this other world. It's primitive, like think Europe before the Romans. So like there's little kingdoms here and there. There's lords, and there's caravans or like oxen pulling wagons between villages, out in the forest. Like there's a little bit of farmland, but it's just very sparse, very primitive.
Sounds like Robin Hood.
It's a bit Robin Hood stuff like that.
The ones that I loved.
And so they agree to guard a caravan. As they're guarding the caravan, they get attacked by bandits. Well, who are bandits? Bandits are people who abandon society. They abandon living in the village, living alongside people. Like, well, I'm going to rob and kill people. They fight and kill these bandits because all right. Well, hurry! I'm recording. So they're living on this world and traveling around. They get involved in battles and wars, and they recruit their friends, and they keep going along, and eventually get to the point where
How many people
75 people
in their band?
by around this point, and the junior year, the last year, the senior year, they get up to about over 100 people.
High school students.
High school students. So through the years, little secret group, little secret society. They're a gang. They train with weapons on Earth. So.
High school kids can do.
So they learn a Jedi mind trick.
Okay.
They learn to trick people and to convince people to let them do things. They magic. There's a little bit of magic in there. So the protagonist owns or he gets to the point where he becomes a baron. He becomes a lord. He can have a little piece of land.
How old is he?
By this point, it's like 16, 17.
Oh God.
But he's leading a crew of guys. He's leading a small band of armed trained fighters. They're badass killers. So he has a manor house out up in the mountains, away, and he says, "Hey, because they realize they can make money by trading between the worlds. They get material from."
What are they trading?
Like items that are hand carved, metal, glass.
What about food? What about medicine?
They bring medicine with them. They get when they eat the food on the other planet, they get sick because it's not cooking. The sanitation's not the same. I keep making jokes and references I get diarrhea. As soon as you go to this planet, you get diarrhea from eating the food. But they learn magic to heal themselves if they get injured in battle, and they use this magic as a chat room. They can communicate with each other, or cell phone even. So if they're in battle or whatever, they can just communicate, and they drones. They can see everything. But anyways, so he has a manor house, and he needs to put people in there because what they realize that they can make a factory there and trade goods. They realize that if we part of to keep training their guys in how to fight, they fight the bandits because during the summer vacation, they join armies and they go on campaigns.
Just school break.
Yeah. Summer break. They go they disappear for 3 months
And
on another
their
planet.
parents don't know about this.
Jedi mind trick. They dupe the parents and saying oh, I'm going camping. And as far as
the parents say okay.
And the parents are cool with it. They tell the parents at first oh, it's a club I'm hanging out, and then they start getting paid. They start getting money from the club, from this gang, because of their trading, and they get to the point they dress nice, they have cars, and then they get
high school kids.
High school kids.
Jesus.
Because they learn magic, they learn how to control their brains and stuff like that.
It sort of sounds like the kids at McCabe's school who have nice cars.
Quite. Okay, so all right. So in the story, I'm, and it really it tripped me out writing the story because like I had this idea in my head of what I wanted to write. I sketched out the timeline or the chapter outline of what I wanted. Then I started writing. The amount of carnage and battle I wrote was like
Why?
because that's what had to happen. There had to be fighting at certain points, and then there's points like well, okay, they're not fighting. It's during the school time, and there's whatever little not so much drama, but it's like the boss telling like one guy becomes the boss, the protagonist, and he has his two main buddies who are the first people to go with him, and then there's other people, and it's all hierarchy. It's all like there's two different groups of people. One group of people is the Dagger, these high school students. The other group of people in this manor house are these orphans, runaways, like second sons or kids who are like they're in desperate situations, like teenagers. People were like they needed a place to go, they needed a job, they needed some place to keep them safe. Kind of borderline homeless, like vagrant, orphan, any like they take in all kinds.
Runaway.
But they basically tell them like, come work for us. We're gonna treat you nice. We'll feed you. We'll teach you how to read and write. We'll teach you how to fight, and then we're gonna use you as employees. Because they're creating this travel service or this shipping merchant service. So they have people coming in all the time, and the protagonist, because he's running things, he needs women there as sort of the sexual objects for the men. Like for his men there. Like because that, to keep morale up. Kind of thing. And so, and I realized at one point, like, oh, I should, I guess, write this in as an idea for a story, or as part of like a sort of drama, or like kind of show the dark side of a character. He's on Earth. He is on a date with a woman, and the woman he wants to go further with the woman. The woman's like, no, I don't want to have sex. So he's like, okay, fine. Takes her home. Immediately goes to the other world, and to the manor house, and there's like a party going on. There's musicians playing. There's people dancing. There's food. There's alcohol. Drink, everything. And the protagonist goes, sits down at the table, is talking with the people he works with, and they're talking about business. And then a drunk female employee, comes over, sits on his lap. He's still talking business, and then she starts kind of groping him, and like, oh, so he takes her off to the bedroom, and like a sort of like magical whatever setting. So I thought, okay, that's kind of bad of me, of writing this scene of like, okay, so
taking advantage of
a drunk employee,
woman.
but she like sort of initiated, and like, yeah, okay,
Doesn't mean anything. She's
right.
drunk.
The next 2 chapters later, I write that he calls her aside during the day. She's dressed, different. Everything's like clean. Calls her aside, talks to her, says, "Hey, one of my employees in the Dagger, one of the high school students, he's constantly. He's having a hard time, and he's complaining a lot. Can you try to make him happy? Can you do what you can to make him happy? Like even have sex with him, like just make the guy feel good.
That is so misogynist.
And I'll pay you for it." And they negotiate.
Oh, that's terrible.
And she agrees.
Yeah, but because my boss is asking me. Nah.
All right, so it's bad of me. It's wrong, or
yes.
or is that bad of the character? Because that's what I was trying to write. Like just what's the dark side of this character?
It's misogynistic. It's really bad. I mean, would you want your daughter if you were a father?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
That's the old style of how you use women.
Right. He doesn't force her into it. He just asks her to negotiate.
No, he's not. You have no understanding.
Okay.
When your boss is, you're going, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
I want to keep my job. I want to please my boss. Blah blah blah. I'll do anything.
Okay.
No.
But different world, different morality, different like everything. Because
I understand, but that's why that Wonder Woman movie, which I have not seen and I wanted to see,
I've not seen it.
You don't understand.
Is it on Netflix right now? Come on.
No, well, whatever. But you understand what I'm saying. Oh God. By the way, you didn't even know what was on.
So that's one thing of the story. The other thing of the story is, at the end of it, I wrote a scene of, it's the 4th year, they recruit a bunch of freshmen, it's the beginning of the year,
Okay.
and they're on the other world in the manor. There's a main mess hall that they gather in for whatever purposes, like multi-purpose room. But usually for food because the kitchen's right next door, and they're gathered around for a sort of like ceremony. It's the end of the first week of school. They've just recruited all the freshmen, who are all these freshmen they recruit are like the outsiders at the school. People who don't make friends. People who are like, they're kind of quirky, kind of odd.
Usual, yeah.
And they kind of track them. They see like, well, what's this guy like? Are they are they decent? Are they sane? They talk to him. They interview him, kind of
Do you
thing.
have any witches?
And then they
Are there any witches?
possibly on this other planet, but I never get to the point the chance to explore that. But anyways, so they figure out like, all right, let's recruit some guys, and they tell these guys like, look, hey, do you want to do something fun after school? And if the kid says yes, cool. Come to the dojo. We're going to show you something. It's awesome what we're doing here, And so they go, and then they say, all right, and you see a bunch of guys training with weapons. It looks like a kung fu martial art, dojo kind of thing, and guys with weapons, sparring, practicing, and then after a while, talking, trying it out, they say, hey, so you really want to know what we do? You really want to have fun? And like, talk to him, convince him.
Sounds like what's that? Children of the God? No. What's the one with Tom Cruise?
So then
Scientology.
So then they go to the other world, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I totally want to do this because you get to live like gods. You get to have fun, drink, chase women, whatever.
Yeah.
And they look at the guys because they realize the sophomores look fit, the juniors look really fit, the seniors look muscled, look scarred, veterans. They're tattoos. They dress incredibly. They're driving really nice cars. They got girlfriends. Like just they got style. Like you totally see the progression because like the confidence, the change of people. But so all the freshmen are there. They're dressed like sort of the same sort of outfit of pantaloons and linen shirts, whatever, medieval Renaissance fair stuff. And the junior or so that's the freshman. The sophomores are dressed a little bit like whatever, but then everybody else are just better.
Where is it all headed? What's the moral of the story?
So one of the freshmen asked, "Are we in an army?" And I realized I just wrote a story about child soldiers.
I know, but what's the moral of the story?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I just realized, wow, I was shocked. Like this is child soldiers. This is the scenario I've created.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm kind of shocked at it, but at the same time, it's like, well, what's the character doing? What's the guy doing?
Have you read about the people from Africa that they
and that's the thing.
Those children?
When I wrote this in 2007, 2006, I didn't know anything about that. So this is just all like a fantasy idea of like, because I was thinking rather than reject violence, like embrace violence. There's a reason for violence. That's the idea.
Did you read those Alec Cross books I had?
Not yet.
You never read them, huh?
But I mean, so yeah, that's kind of like where I end up with the story. So you, Miss Literary, you've read everything. You've read all sorts of stuff.
Well,
so what's your take? I mean,
I don't know what to tell you.
What's your thoughts? What's your response? Well, misogyny. Okay.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
And there's like something's missing.
At one point, they get into a gang fight with a Latino gang on Earth.
Oh my God! Everything under the sun.
They're in cars. They go into an alleyway, and then and there's like only a handful of there's less of the dagger because it's the more senior guys than the gang. But because they're trained and they know how to fight, they just swarm over these guys. They rush over them like a wave.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Those Alex Cross books.
Well, let's talk about myself.
I understand, but I'm asking you to read the first Alex Cross.
Okay, I'll read this.
About the kid.
Yeah.
Who all of a sudden gets into this spy world.
Okay, I got you.
His parents were spies, and
I got you.
They die, and so his uncle takes them over.
So my sort of tagline for the story is Peter Pan meets Sopranos. So, yeah, you don't like that? You don't think that fits?
No.
I used to think or say Harry Potter, but I realized like no, Peter Pan makes more sense. So for the scenario,
Yeah.
and
Fantasy.
yeah, and the Sopranos because like it's a bit of the gritty, darker. It's business. It's sort of there's a fair amount of exposition and talking because it's organization. Like I try to write the scenes realistic of what would people say to each other, and I use the scenes to fill in the details of everything going on. Like every little scene you're seeing.
It's
is
too
like,
bad you
that's
can't talk to Cofer, because he's already been selling stuff.
Well, I'll give him a call. I'll talk to him. So anything else about what
He's
I
here.
told you?
You'd have to stay here.
I understand. So anything else about what I wrote? I mean, so yeah, I'm
Do you
just.
want the first book of those? I have it.
I'll read it. But yeah, I was just kind of shocked at myself at like just what I had written. So because I was editing everything,
I
it's a recording. Yeah.
turn it off for 1 second.
No, because then I can't edit it together. So,
Oh.
anyways, I'll just finish up.
Were you
So-
stoned when you were writing?